Well, hello. Welcome back to my second end of the year list for 2021. Today, we'll be discussing my top 10 worst movies of the year. These are the movies that sucked the most in the year 2021. Also, yesterday I posted my top 5 most surprising and top 5 most disappointing movies of the year. And tomorrow I'll be posting my top 10 movies of the year. And then on January 1st, I will be posting my top 10 most anticipated movies for 2022. So keep your eyes on the horizon and look out for some cool content coming shortly. Also, feel free to go into the comment section below and tell me some of your least favorite movies you saw this year. Let's see how much our least favorites of the year differ. That should be pretty fun. Anyways, let's kick this amazing list of films off with number 10, which is gonna be the Forever Purge. I'm a pretty casual fan of the Purge franchise. I think it's a fine franchise. Just think it's fine. And so I was like, oh, cool, new Purge movie. This will be the first one I've seen in theaters. I saw it, and honestly, the word that comes to mind when thinking about this movie is racist. Straight up, this movie's just racist. I mean, it's just generic Purge stuff. Looks like a made-for-TV movie, but it wasn't. Like, really low budget. There are, like, some nice kills, I guess. The concept of people revolting and just letting the Purge go on forever is good, but just, like, the story and just, like, shoving the message down your throat and being racist, obviously. One of the biggest piles of crap we got this year. Coming just above, or maybe below, don't really know, but coming in at 9th place for my pick of worst of the year is going to be Space Jam: A New Legacy. This movie is basically just a rehash of the original, but hey, let's update it. Same movie. Like, beat for beat, pretty much same movie, but with LeBron James, right? Instead of Michael Jordan. Honestly, some pretty weird references. CGI is kind of spotty. Just kind of, this movie already exists. It's like you plagiarized the original and gave us one that's not as good. So I honestly don't really have much to say about this one other than it just feels like the movie that plagiarized the most this year. So yeah, Space Jam: A New Legacy. Sorry, but you're this low. Coming in at 8th place is gonna have to be Silent Night. This is a movie that I doubt many people saw. I honestly was just looking for something to see, and I was like, ooh, Silent Night. It's got Keira Knightley and then Matthew Good. Yeah, Matthew Good, the guy who plays Ozymandias in Watchmen. So I was like, cool, Silent Night. Looks like a horror movie. And the description was like, family gets together for Christmas and then everyone starts dying. Or like, they're all gonna die. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty neat. Let's see what this is like. And it's just, no. It's like an hour and a half of just pure boredom. Not really a horror movie. It's like, yeah, they're all gonna die, but that's because of like this cloud of dust or toxins or whatever is gonna come kill them. And it's like the morality of, are you gonna take this pill to kill yourself without suffering or suffer through the toxin dust? And I don't know, it was really boring because it said a horror movie. It wasn't really horrific, wasn't scary, none of that. The character's pretty unlikable. It's just an hour and a half of them debating what they're gonna do. Was not a fan of this one. This is one of the few movies this year where I was sitting watching it just like, oh, when is this gonna end? Please end, please end, please end. Because I was dreadful watching this movie. Coming in 7th place, for worst of the year is going to be Fear Street Part 3, 1666. Now, the Fear Street movies was, I believe, in July. Every week, a new one of them dropped on Netflix, so it's like a 3-part thing. That makes sense. I thought the first two were nice little horror movies. First one very reminiscent of Scream and the 90s slashers. Part 2, personally my favorite. Pretty much like a Friday the 13th knockoff, so I dug that one quite well. And so I was interested to see what this third one was going to do, and this third one really dropped the ball. I'm really not into, like, really, really early America and, like, settlement and stuff with, like, but when it's, like, a movie set there, it's just not my sort of thing. So I didn't really like the setting, and this movie just was kind of boring, I guess. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of that time period. It just got way too weird, and I got confused with, like, the recasting of characters, and, like, characters playing multiple people. Really weird and hard for me to follow. The only reason that this movie got saved from being, like, worse than it was is the end was nice, where it, like, kind of tied the whole thing together. So that was one good aspect about this movie, but otherwise I was pretty let down by this one, coming off the first two Fear Street movies, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Coming in 6th place for worst of the year is going to have to be Cosmic Sin, the action movie with Bruce Willis, and I believe Frank Grillo's in there too, where they're battling aliens in, like, some sort of, like, mech suits or something. So I like Bruce Willis, I like Frank Grillo, both pretty good actors, like action movies, like space adventures, I guess. So you hear, like, Bruce Willis battling aliens in, like, a mech suit. It's like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. At the least, this will be just a dumb, fun blockbuster, and it's just so boring. Yeah, I was bored the entire time watching this. It does nothing for the genre. Probably a movie I will never watch again. Coming in 5th place for worst of the year is gonna be Nightmare Alley. Now, I was kind of looking forward to this movie. Kind of came out under the radar because it came out the same weekend as No Way Home, which is definitely the bigger of the two movies. But what had me interested about this movie is that it had a stacked cast. You got Bradley Cooper, Toni Collette, Willem Dafoe, Cate Blanchett, Ron Perlman, like a really, really stacked cast. And so I was interested to see this, and so I went to see it, and it started off, like, kind of weird, and I was like, okay, yeah, this will get explained. First off, no, it never gets explained. Also, there's, like, 3 sections to this movie, and there's just, like, no, I don't know, I guess, like, sense of urgency or sense of what you're building towards, I guess, or, like, what the whole story is. It's just kind of like it exists, I guess. So this is also one of those movies that I was really bored watching it, just wanting it to end, because I just didn't know what was going. Well, I understood what was going on, but I didn't understand where it was leading to. Coming in 4th place is going to be Thunder Force. Now, I do like superhero movies. I like Melissa McCarthy quite a bit, and I like Octavia Spencer. So I was like, okay, this looks like a superhero comedy. Let's see what this is about. And oh my god, this movie is awful. It is not funny at all. The concept is garbage. A lot of the CGI is kind of garbage. I don't know. This movie was painfully unfunny. I honestly don't have much to say on this one, other than pretty much it's just painful to watch. Our bronze medal for worst of the year is unfortunately going to have to be The Matrix Resurrections. Now, I'm a pretty casual Matrix fan. I like the first one, like, it's pretty good. Nowhere near my favorites, but I like it, and I'll rewatch that one. Don't care for either of the two sequels in the original trilogy. So walking into this one, I had some pretty mediocre expectations, and this movie just crapped the bed for me. The way it starts off with like a meta story, it just way too weird for me. And then like trying to figure out like where the story was going just took a while, probably like good 30-40 minutes before I had a good idea of what we were going towards. Also, once I did understand where the story was going, it's just like, okay, yes, this is just the original, but we're doing it 30 years later. Like, yeah, it just please be original. Don't just rely on nostalgia for that first movie. Also, the fight scenes aren't that good, honestly. Our runner-up for worst of the year is going to be Home Sweet Home Alone. I walked into this one knowing that, yeah, this is probably going to be bad, because, let's face it, haven't really been any good Home Alone movies since Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2. But, yeah. So I walked into this one with pretty low expectations, and this movie was worse than my expectations. That's pretty hard to do, but somehow this movie managed to do it. This is probably my least favorite Home Alone movie. The kid, not the greatest kid in the Home Alone series. The robbers, they try making them like have a reason for what they're doing, and like have them, yes, what we're doing is right. We need to do this for our family heirloom. Yes. No, that is stupid. This movie just captures none of the magic and none of the themes and all that great stuff. All the things that we love about the first two Home Alone movies. It does none of that. This is just movie trying to get money off the Home Alone name, but that leaves one movie that was worse, and so my pick for worst movie has to be the shit bomb that was Old. I hate this movie. This movie sucked. Acting in this movie, horrendous. Story, horrendous. The concept was interesting, but the execution was absolute trash. The twist was trash. Doesn't even make sense. Like, it's not even a twist. When you have a good twist, it enhances the rest of the movie. This twist just comes out of the blue. You couldn't have figured it out beforehand. It's just, here we go. There's a twist. That's not how you do a twist. Pretty disappointed by this one. I was pretty excited to see this one. Yeah, I was like, yes, I want to see this movie. I was pretty excited to see this one. Sat down. About 20 minutes in, I was like, oh God, this is what I'm going to be sitting through. And I was right. That's what I sat through. I was so bored at this movie. This was so difficult to watch all the way through. The only thing that kept me watching this movie was for that good old M. Night Shyamalan twist. And then when the twist was garbage, made me hate this movie even more. So, Old, screw you. I hate you. You are the worst movie I saw this year. So that wraps up my 10 worst movies of the year. Hopefully you enjoyed watching me talk about these movies I hate. If you would like to tune in tomorrow, I'll be talking about the 10 movies I loved. And I might even include some honorable mentions on that, because there were a lot of good movies that came out this year. So yeah, please tune in tomorrow and check that out. Also go ahead and join me down below in the comments section and add some movies you hated that came out this year. So yes, I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.